What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be doing the match preview for AS Monaco versus Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League. The biggest competition in Europe is back in a new format, with hopefully Barcelona being the first winner of the new format. Again, the hype and the vibes right now around Barcelona are big, they're huge, they're exciting, and this is going to be a very serious test to the team that was the last to beat Barcelona under Hansi Flick, giving us our first, loss in the course of 90 minutes as well. But again, the excitement is there, and we'll have to see how Barcelona do approach probably their biggest test so far of the season in the competition. Of course, difficult away ground against a very tricky side as well. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Kickoff time for this match will be taking place at 9 p.m. local time, so your regular kickoff time in the Champions League, but on a bloody Thursday for some sort of reason. Thank God it ain't Europa League action. And this match will be taking place at the Louis II Stadium in France, of course, is the home of Monaco, and the referee for this match has been confirmed as well. On the pitch, it will be the Dutch referee Allard Lindhout, who will be refereeing his first ever Champions League match, and the VAR will be his Dutch accomplice in Dennis Higler. Now, with this being Barcelona's first match in the Champions League, let's first take a look ahead of what we can expect during this Champions League run in the group stages. Of course, we have 4 games at home, 4 games away. The 4 at home are going to be Bayern Munich, Atalanta, Young Boys, and Brest. And away from home, we will be facing Borussia Dortmund, Benfica, Red Star Belgrade, and of course, our opponents for tomorrow in Monaco. And you can see on the screen right now the schedule and when these matches will be taking place. So we start away from home, have a double header at home, away, home, then double header away, then ending off at home. Again, the final match of the group stage will be taking place at the end of January. This will be taking place over a very long period of time, especially now with there being 2 extra games than what we're normally used to. The round 16 will be taking place, I believe, in the beginning, in the middle of February as well. So basically, in order for Barcelona to qualify for the next round, of course, with ease, we probably have to win, I would say, 6 out of 8 games. Of course, we can end up having a terrible run here, but still having to go through the playoffs in the Champions League, which would definitely suck, especially with this new league format. The first to 8 automatically qualify for the round 16, then from 9 to like 20 something, they all face off against each other, and then the winner of that will be going on and progressing, to the round 16. Now, we see here we have a lot of games coming up, and of course, you cannot ignore the league fixtures in between these games as well. I know for a fact that after that Bayern Munich game at home on October 23rd, over the weekend, we go to the Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid. So that's going to be a very tough run. I think the 3 big games here that I'm looking at are Bayern at home, Dortmund, and Benfica away. That run against Dortmund and Benfica away, December 11th, January 21st, that's going to be a real try and test for Barcelona to see what level we're at and whether or not we'll be advancing. Because by then, hopefully, we have a strong hold, because we're going to have, in our first 5 games, 3 at home, 2 away, and both away being in, one being in France, one being in Czech. By the way, Red Star Belgrade away is very difficult. Of course, the team isn't the best, but the atmosphere, the stadium, the environment is going to be top tier. If we can get a great start to that point, maybe have from those first 5 games 4 wins and one of the other one not being a loss, being a draw, we'd be in a very good position heading into that double header against Dortmund and Benfica away. The single Undal Park, the Benfica Stadium, where we had some terrible times as of late. I don't think we've been to the single Undal Park until the COVID season, where we went there and drew 0-0. Ter Stegen saving a penalty from Royce to give us the draw in that match. Very tight game. So it's going to be a true battle for Barcelona. I don't think this is very difficult, but it's definitely not easy by any means as well. This would be a very strong test for Barcelona to see what level they're currently at, and whether or not they'll have an easy way to the round 16 or a difficult one. Let's now take a look at our opponents in AS Monaco. This will be the first time that Barcelona have taken on Monaco in a competitive competition in quite some time. Of course, they're a very well-known club in the French league. I would say they're probably top 5 in terms of history as well, alongside, Paris Saint-Germain, Marseille, Lyon, other top teams as well. But they're very well established in the league. Now, the last time we did face them in all competition was, of course, a month ago in the Joan Gamper, where they handed us our first defeat in the Joan Gamper since 2011, when we lost to Sampdoria. It was a very bad evening at the Montjuic. Now you can see, of course, the lineup on your screen on the right hand side. A lot of changes there. No more Christensen, of course. That midfield three is basically non-existent at this point, apart from Casado. Paul Victor, after his great start to the season, preseason, is now nowhere near their starting lineup. That back five is pretty much the same, apart from, of course, Christensen. But we just had a very, very off day. Of course, their goals mainly came from mistakes, but nonetheless, though, they still scored. I think the first two were mistakes, and the last one's on a counter-attack as Barcelona were just pushing to try and get an equalizer. But losing a Joan Gamper is very, very rare for Barcelona, and Monaco coming there, on a friendly basis in our stadium where we have this every year and thumping us 3-0 is no mean feat whatsoever, and definitely 100% a warning sign as well. Now, if you take a look at Monaco's start to Ligue 1, they are currently sat in 3rd place in Ligue 1 on 10 points after playing 4 matches. They have 3 wins and 1 draw, so they're undefeated so far. They have the same record, of course, as Marseille. Only difference between them and first place PSG is PSG won their game that they ended up drawing Monaco and Marseille. So a good start to their league campaign, as they do want to challenge, of course, for the top spot, have maybe a bit of a title race, and of course those Champions League spots in France as well. Now, if you take a look at Monaco's last 5 matches in all competition, in their last match they beat Auxerre 3-0, they drew to Lens 1-1, they beat Lyon 2-0, and they also beat Saint-Etienne 1-0 as well. We already talked about, of course, the Joan Gamper game, and the Super Cup for France was also postponed, and they'll play that another day. Doesn't really bother us, but let's take a look now at their last 3 matches in all competition. Firstly is that big away win against Lyon, where they end up winning 2-0. They do play in the 4-2-3-1 formation, very similar to Barcelona, and in this match, they were the better side. I did watch the highlights for this game, like the extended highlights, but it was a very, very strong performance from Monaco. They look like a different beast, a different team this season compared to last season. They have a very, very strong squad as well. You can see the likes, of course, of Venderson, who we've been linked with a lot, Thilo Kehrer, formerly at PSG, Salisu of Southampton, who we were linked with a lot as well, Dennis Zakaria, Lamine Camara, who we were linked with a lot the past summer, Minamino from Liverpool, Mbolo, of course, a Swiss striker. They also have Balogun, of course, a former Arsenal and American forward as well. It's a very, very well-structured team that has full of youth, experience, and it has a strong balance. And in this match, they showed that as well. Lyon didn't have too many chances in behind because Monaco got those goals at very adequate times and also controlled the midfield very, very well. They're a team that hold on to the ball very well. They don't lose too much possession when they have it as well. We saw that, of course, a bit in the Joan Gamper as well. So a very, very strong win for Monaco here, 2-0 against a strong side in Lyon. Next match is their 1-1 draw against Lens. This is, of course, the first time they drop points this season at home as well. This is a very much a sturdy game for them. Again, you can see the lineup on the screen for you is very much weaker than what we've seen in the recent match, apart from Dennis Zakaria and Minamino and maybe Balogun up front. Is pretty much a very, very rotated side. They wanted to, of course, they were kind of pushing everything from the start with their first team. They had to have one sort of break to rotate everything. They chose this match, and they ended up, of course, suffering the consequences. They weren't very poor per se. They were, of course, the dominant side, especially being at home, but Lens just had more muscle. They were defensively very strong as well, and ended up stealing 2 points in this game. And their final match was over the past weekend, where they did beat Auxerre 3-0. Now you can see the lineup, of course, on the right hand side there. This is a lineup that we can expect for the match tomorrow as well. Kounde in goal, who's done very well. Again, we already talked about Venderson and Thilo Kehrer, who both, of course, got on the score sheet. Salisu as well, and don't forget Chao Enrique, another player who's been linked with Barcelona a lot over the past few years. Again, Lamine Camara, Dennis Zakaria, Golovin, the Russian, who's also done very well for them over recent years as well, and of course Mbolo up front. This is a very, very good team, and a team that can definitely pose a threat to Barcelona. I was expected to play something very similar to this. We'll wait and see if Minamino is fit for this game, whether he maybe puts either Balogun or Mbolo on the wing as well. That could be an option for Monaco. But again, this match, cruise control for them, sheer and utter dominance. Of course, some of their goals coming in from set pieces mainly, which again Barcelona do have to look out for in this game. But again, they're a very, very threatening side that can pose a great threat to Barcelona. So overall, final thoughts on Monaco. To be honest, in my opinion, I think they're a very, very good side. They're very well coached by Eddie Hutter as well, who's been in the job, I believe, now for about a year and a bit. He's done a very good job in bringing in Monaco from mid-table to now challenging for, a little bit of a title race again with PSG. They just dominate, but mainly, of course, solidifying their spot in those Champions League positions in Ligue. A very, very strong manager as well. And to the place to look out for, again, like I already mentioned, they have so much quality in key areas. I'm mainly looking at Dennis Zakaria, who's had an unbelievable start to the season. Lamine Camara as well in that midfield. That double pivot right there is going to be the game changer. You know, you compare them to, Pedri and Casado, who they'll probably face from Barcelona's point of view. It is a very, very even matchup. Of course, Pedri does, of course, share of quality, but then Zakaria is a powerhouse in midfielder. Lamine Yamal is such a controller and, a destroyer in the midfield as well. That's going to be a true try test. Their fullbacks, of course, in Venderson, Chao Enrique, the Brazilian duo are fantastic. Tito Kier, Salislu have formed a very strong partnership in the center back position. Minamino, Golovin, Balogun, Mbolo. It's a very, very, very good team in their stadium as well. So this will pose a huge threat to Barcelona. I think, honestly, apart from the Girona game, maybe after the club game, this is on par with one of the most difficult opponents we are facing this season, and their form does not lie. Of course, with Girona, they had a bit of a ropey start. After the club as well, a bit of a ropey start, but of course, Monaco have been flying this season, apart from their one draw where, like I mentioned, they did rotate very heavily in that game. So a team that poses a threat to Barcelona and should not be taken lightly whatsoever. Now, as we approach this game, we do have some very key injury updates to discuss. Of course, you've probably seen the rumors by now. This is my first time reacting to it on the channel. Fermin Lopez, of course, was on the verge of recovering, was probably maybe going to be in the squad list for this game, maybe worst case scenario squad list this weekend against Villarreal. Of course, with Dani Olmo getting injured, we are all super excited to see Fermin Lopez come back. And during the training session yesterday, he got injured again, and the club have confirmed that he suffered an injury in his right quadricep. But again, a little bit of a positive here. The club did announce he'll be out for 3 weeks. Now again, like I mentioned a lot on the channel over the past few days, when the club releases a timeline for an injury, it is positive news, because that means this is a structural, normal injury. Again, the reports are suggesting that the injury is minor, but again, it will take time for Fermin to recover. He's going to be out now until the international break. Very similar recovery rate to Dani Olmo. Both players should be back hopefully against Sevilla after the international break, at least both minimum being in the squad list, with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid coming up after that game. But big blow for Fermin as well. This would have been a great opportunity for him to get some minutes and really, hold a position down there, provide some good competition to Olmo in that 10, especially with, matches like Villarreal, Getafe, Young Boys, Osasuna. Not big teams, but challenging sides where Fermin Lopez can definitely explode. But it's a big blow for Barcelona, but we'll see how, of course, Hansi Flick does, substitute the Fermin injury. Of course, I did mention this in my Goals TV video this week, so if you haven't checked that out, of course, check the community tab and hit that link where we'll discuss how Barcelona will, adapt to the injuries of both Fermin and Dani Olmo. But some positive news is in regards to, of course, Frenkie de Jong, with Franco Rasmus Sport coming out saying that Frenkie de Jong returned to doing part of the training with the group yesterday, and this week he is expected to complete an entire session at some point. If his feelings continue to be good, the idea is that he'll be receiving the medical green light at some point next week, either being for the match against Getafe on Wednesday or the match on Saturday against Osasuna. You, of course, probably seen the clips of Frenkie de Jong going through the tunnel, getting, slapped on the head, which pretty much means now he's back at this point. Fantastic news. With Frenkie, what we need is him to get, some minutes, get that sharpness up, then go out, of course, international duty with Netherlands. I expect Koeman to call him up and then really get those 90 minutes for the Dutch national team, and then come back for Barcelona, Sevilla, Bayern, Madrid, ready to go. Especially with these injuries that we do have in midfield to Fermin and Dani Olmo, getting the recovery of Frenkie is so important, especially with the already lack of numbers that we do have in that midfield. So again, take his time, of course. If he doesn't have to come back next week, he can take his time, come back after the international break. As long as he comes back 100% fit, that is, of course, the main objective. Let's now take a look at the squad list. The squad list of this match has been released and confirmed, and it is as follows: Ter Stegen, Kubarsi, Balde, Inigo, Fran, Pedri, Lewandowski, Ansu Fati, Raphinha, Inaki Peña, Paulo Torre, Casado, Pau Victor, Yamal, Kounde, Eric Aserlaga Fort, Gerard Martin, Ciri Dominguez, Andreas Cuenca, and both the Fernandez cousins in Guillermo and Tony. So the big surprise, of course, is Ansu Fati getting the medical green light this morning to travel, of course, to France and, of course, be involved in the game as well. And also, of course, both Fernandez cousins being called up following the injury of both Dani Olmo and Fermin Lopez. Let's now get into the press conference reaction of Jules Kounde. As we all know, in Champions League competition, a player always accompanies a manager during the presser, and today Jules Kounde was selected, probably because he's French, we're playing in France, Monaco, makes a bit of sense, but he spoke with the media, and let's get and see what he had to say this afternoon in the presser. He starts off by saying the team understands very well what the manager wants. There is a new dynamic. His staff is very on top of things, and everyone does their job very well, starting with the forwards who press very well. That gives us extra confidence that we can all do what we want to do, and that allows you to score goals and win you games. On the season objectives, when you start this competition, the objective is to win. We know it's very difficult, competition with a new format to which we'll have to adapt because there'll be more games, but the objective must be to compete. Last year we finished in the quarterfinals, and this year we want more. Then as on the number of matches this season, saying that I agree with everything that Rodri said the other day about there being too many games, there could be a possible strike. The calendar is getting longer every year. There are more matches every year, less time to rest. Nobody pays attention to us, the main protagonists, which are us, the players. The coaches also ask for it. The only thing left for us to do is to go on strike. There are more and more injuries because there is less time to rest, and more matches or tournaments like the new Club World Cup format as well, which will have 70 matches that can be reached for one season for one specific team that goes, the distance. I then asked what he enjoys the most at Barcelona, and that I don't know. The team is going through a very good moment since I arrived. We've had good moments, but it's true the team is playing very well. I'm very happy, and we have to continue like this. On the new UCL format, there are advantages and disadvantages. Nothing is perfect. You have to try out the form and then form an opinion. We're going to go to play more games, but that means more work. But within the new format, I think it's more competition. You play more teams, but I couldn't say it's better or worse quite yet. Then asked about revenge on Monaco ahead of course, the loss in the Joan Gamper, and it could be useful, although this competition is different. Time has passed. We are in good form. They're coming off 3 wins and a draw, so we are ready for this game. He's then asked about right back and whether or not he's the best in the world and enjoys playing there. He said, look, I'll leave that to whoever's watching. What matters to me the most is giving my best and improving. It's not my natural position for me because I'm a center back, but I like the challenge. I mean, he's playing right back for both Barcelona and France, so I mean, put 2 and 2 together, mate. I love Jules, but time to switch that mindset a little bit. Improving is something I've done since I was little. It doesn't matter where they put me or the circumstances. I give my best to always perform. Then on Monaco, say that look, I follow Ligue. It's a league that attracts me a lot and knows a lot. I know a lot of players in it. I follow the team. They've won 3 games and drawn another. They are a very young team, but talented and physical. We will face an opponent with a lot of confidence. Just like us, it will be a difficult match, but we will approach it in the best way possible. Then asked on the reason of injuries that we're suffering a lot recently, saying that look, the calendar is one of the reasons for the injuries in addition to sleep, injuries. All of this is true, and all is about the pace of the game that does not help either. On the physical change, that I think it's a new way of working. We shouldn't throw away everything Xavi has done. Last season we had difficult moments, but there was also times where we were physically well. Now it's a new way of working. The manager demands that there is intensity at all times and that we focus as well. We are understanding this is very well, and it is, I think, so far very well on the pitch. And finally, he was asked on Lamine Yamal if he has been coaching him how to defend and track back as a winger. Of course, he's playing ahead of him. He said, look, he's a guy who always works for the team. It's my role to guide him defensively because it's my job, and I'm older than him as well. It comes naturally to him, but sometimes you have to guide him a little bit on the pitch. And that concluded Jules Kounde's press conference reaction ahead of the match against Monaco tomorrow. Time now to get into Hansi Flick's press conference reaction. Of course, following Jules Kounde, he came out to the media and spoke this afternoon. So let's go and see what he had to say about the match tomorrow. On the match tomorrow, he said, I think the idea when we started here was to play well. I think we've done well, and we will see what the intensity is like, how they press. So far is going well. When I arrived, I realized that there were players with a lot of quality, with players who were 15 years old and now 16. We're incorporating international players. It's become more and more evident we can give them the philosophy and of how we want them to play as well. But in the end, it has to happen on the pitch, and the latest results have been good. They've been very stable, and this is key for our success. Then asked on Danny Olmo's replacement, saying that Danny is his own quality on the ball in front of goal and the confidence to shoot. We'll see. I hope we can continue playing at the same level without him. On the Fernandez cousins being called up, saying that look, I also talked about them in my first answer. They started at 15 and now they're 16. It's amazing how La Masia makes them develop and perform. When we need players, we know we can find them at La Masia, and I have no doubt that they will be playing very well. On the homegrown players, when I accepted this job, I accepted the situation of the club. La Masia is the treasure that Barcelona has, and we have to take advantage of it. You only have to see the number of players we have in the team. Today, I can say that the Fernandez cousins are ready to play and improve their performance. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but I remain very positive. Although in football, it is not always fair. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Then he was asked on Fermin Lopez's relapse injury. Now, this answer for me is very, very interesting and gives a good insight onto what actually happened. He said that, look, in recent weeks, we have been gradually working with the players. They have been improving from their injuries. Ansu has been able to train well, and we're very happy to be able to count on him on this game because he gives us another, possibility. We've spoken about Danny as well. Gavi is also training little by little, as well as Frenkie. In both positions, though, we have to be careful. As for Fermin Lopez, it is a shame because I feel a bit responsible. Nobody wanted to leave for him to go out with the under-21 during the international break, and I spoke to him about this, so I feel a bit responsible. When we were with the doctor yesterday, the truth is that I feel very sore for him, and you have to look after your players. So he regrets not forcing Fermin Lopez to stay during the international break. So he's kind of blaming himself a little bit in the end, but of course this comes to Fermin Lopez playing so many minutes over the past few months, playing in 2 competitions during the summer. He's asked on Barcelona's seriousness, and in the last game we showed that we played very seriously against Girona. It was a high quality game. We played very well, but we need to be we need the pressure. They suffered and we scored goals. So more we face a great rival. They have a very good team with the new Champions League format, which is the best in the world. I think we are on the right track. He's then asked on what position will Ansu Fati play on his returns, and the thing is, I don't know. He's ready to play, and when he's ready to play, we'll see how it happens. Right now, he can only play about 45 minutes. I know his favorite position, but I'm not gonna tell you right now to leave a bit of suspense. When he's on the pitch, he really enjoys playing games, and most importantly, scoring goals as well. On the game again, Flick said, I think you can't really compare the game on the jumper with tomorrow's game. We're more into the competition now, and I think the players know that what they have to do. I'm prepared well for today, and we'll have time before the game tomorrow as well. We're clear what we want to do, and also what the players have to do as well. On the objective to try to win the Champions League, as Kounde just mentioned, saying that yes, I think so. A club like Barcelona, the big clubs want to win titles, and I said the Champions League is the biggest competition in the world. We have to be ready to play against the best teams. If you're not at 100% focused, you have no place in this competition. On Barcelona being able to regain respect in Europe, a very interesting question. He said, look, I don't know what happened in the past. I'm now focused on the present. The team has the full house of victories in La Liga, and we are confident. We need to be aggressive and focused, and that's what is needed in this competition like the Champions League. The 5 victories are already part of the past, and it's time to prove it now in the Champions League. And finally, Flick was asked on Monaco and their coach as well, who he knows very well. He said that I know Eddie very well. The last game, we could see the positive assets of Monaco. They work very well defensively. We need the confidence and concentration to cover any spaces there is and create chances. I have a plan on how to do that, and I hope that we can achieve it. And that concluded Hansi Flick's press comments reaction and the match against Monaco tomorrow. Let's now get into the lineup prediction. We're going to start with the manager, of course, Hansi Flick. I'm going to try my best to predict his lineup. I think it honestly will be very simple to predict. This is the Champions League, so I expect Flick to go fairly strong and not make too many changes from the last match against Girona. But of course, one change will be forced with no Dani Olmo being available for this game. Now, I've gone with this lineup on the screen right now for Hansi Flick. I think I'll go with Ter Stegen in goal, a back four of Kounde, Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez, and Alejandro Balde. Midfield 3 of Marc Casado, Pedri, and Raphinha coming in the 10, and a front 3 of Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, and Ferran Torres coming in on the left-hand side, of course, to replace Raphinha. Now, I have a suspicion, a little bit of a feeling that Flick might just make like 3 changes that we don't see coming. Again, I'm still reading Flick as a new manager. With Xavi last season, I was hitting like predictions like it was nothing. I'm still reading Flick. I can see him making maybe 3 changes out of nowhere, like he did, of course, for the Rayo Vallecano game, where he started, of course, Gerard Martin out of nowhere. But with this being the Champions League, I don't see that very clearly. But I think he will, of course. The main selection, Raphinha coming in the 10 to replace Dani Olmo. Of course, Raphinha did start in the 10, I believe, against Valencia in the first game of the season at the Mestalla. He had that front four that you can see, Raphinha, Lamine, Ferran, and Lewandowski, with Ferran being suspended this weekend as well against Villarreal. Might as well just rinse him and use him for his fitness. There could, of course, we could see Eric Garcia come in for Casado. I was thinking about that. Will Hansi Flick do that, bringing some experience ahead of the youngster? But Casado played really well against Girona, so I don't think Hansi Flick will make that change. So with this team, I could maybe see one like sneaky change, but again, we don't really have any options. Will he bring in Hector Ford for Kounde? Probably not. Maybe he'll move Kounde to the middle, have Ford there on the right hand side. There have been reports that Hansi Flick is really watching out for Cubarsí, does not want him to get injured after the intense summer that he did have, of course, as well. So he's really watching for his minutes. He could maybe bring Kounde to the right of center back partnership like we saw against Girona. Then Hector Ford coming in. Don't think he'll bring in Gerard Martin for this game. I don't think he's at the level of, a high-intensity game like this. So there are some tinkers that he could make. Will Pau Victor start? Probably not. Pablo Torre? Probably not. But there could be another change. But I'm going to be going with this as my official prediction for Hansi Flick. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think Hansi Flick will go with. Now I'm going to show you guys my lineup, what I would do if I was the Barcelona coach. Again, not going to waste too much of your time. I would go with the exact same team. I was thinking as well, Pablo Torre, Hector Ford. Do I really go with Fermin off the left-hand side? Do I maybe go with Pau Victor, Eric Garcia in the midfield? These are all the things that are coming in my mind. But I said, you know what? We have a good system. We have, momentum. We have confidence. If it ain't broken, no need to fix it. Unless a player would come up to me saying that he's, feeling tired or whatever the case may be, this would be the team that I would select. I think Raphinha in the 10 is a more viable option than Pedri. Of course, make sure you go to the community section of my YouTube channel and hit the Goals TV link where I talk about all the options to replace both Fermin and Dani Olmo in the 10. But I think for this game, it suits Raphinha much more, especially to have Ferran Torres off the left-hand side. Of course, if Ansu Fati is fully fit and, ready to go, I might have a different option there, but I would pick Ferran Torres ahead of Pau Victor if I'm being completely honest. But that's the line that I was stuck for this match, but of course, in the comments down below, let me know if you agree with my lineup and Flick's lineup. Time now for my score prediction. What do I believe the result will be in this match? I'm laughing because I'm going with the typical 1-1 draw that's been, turning out very well for us this season. But on a real note, I don't even know how I feel about this game because, again, you're still reading the team. You're still, reading Hansi Flick. My official prediction is going to be a 1-1 for the banter, but I do see Barcelona coming out on top in this game, but I do fear about Monaco. They are a very good team. They've had a great start to their season as well. They're at home. I don't think it'll be a walk in the park like we have seen in the recent games. We're winning 7-0, 4-1. I think we will see here a narrow win for Barcelona like we saw in our first 3 games of the season against Valencia, Vallecano Athletic Club. I think it will be a narrow victory for Barcelona. Do we concede or not? We've kept 1 clean sheet this whole season. Another clean sheet to really help the confidence and momentum of the defense and mainly Ter Stegen as well would be nice. But I do see a narrow victory for Barcelona. I would probably say probably 2-1 as well, just to keep up with the rhythm. I don't see Barcelona keeping a clean sheet in this game. If we keep a clean sheet, I will genuinely be shocked, but I think it's more so to come with an individual mistake, not more so the structure of the defense. But my official prediction is going to be a 1-1 draw. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think the scoreline will be. So that was a match preview for AS Monaco versus Barcelona in the Champions League. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on everything we discussed. But the main thing I want firstly, of course, is your score prediction. And secondly, on those lineups. Firstly, do you agree with my lineup and Flick's lineup? If you don't, of course, what would you change? What would you tinker? Would you agree with myself and Flick? Of course, all your thoughts down in the comments below. And of course, do not forget to make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the live watch along. Set the reminder on the screen and come and join me, watch the game with me, follow straight after the match by my match review. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Big game ahead. Let's hope we can continue this confidence and momentum that we do have so far this season and really put a stamp, hopefully, on our European competition. Take care and Forza Barca. Go, 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 go.